In this video, what I'll cover is the installation of Ampla 2018 MR2 on a fresh Windows 2016 server with SQL installed, so it's just SQL Standard Edition. So we'll just work our way through the installation and sort out any issues that may come from prerequisites as we go. Okay, so the first thing that we'll notice here is that when we run the installer, there's a number of prerequisites that underpin the Ampla installation, and you can see here that it's telling us that a number of them are missing. So we've got IIS is missing, ASP.NET is missing, we're also missing the Rabbitmq message broker and the OPC core components. So I'll step through resolving each of these items so we can progress with the installation now. Okay, so the first thing we'll do here is we'll get IIS installed, and then we'll come back and ideally tick that off, and then we'll progress to the next prerequisite required. So if we come into the server manager, we can move into adding server roles. You can see here that we were able to add the web server IIS feature, so we can add that. Stepping through. We'll install that. Okay, now we have IIS installed. We should be able to close this, and we should be able to rerun the installer and find that IIS is now installed happily. Okay, so we can see here now it's saying that IIS 7 has been found, and now we'll move on to .NET. So now to get the .NET 4 functionality on the machine, we just need to step in and actually enable it. It exists on the machine, it's just not enabled as yet. So we'll just find that item. So .NET 3.5 features, we'll just tick all of that. Okay, we can see that we've now finished the .NET Framework installation, so we'll close that. Okay, now we'll go back to the installer and we'll cancel it again and rerun it again. Okay, so now we've progressed on a little bit further, and you can see that we've now got the tick for the ASP.NET installation, and now we're down to the Rabbitmq message broker. So something to note here is that the Rabbitmq installer actually has its own prerequisite of this Erlang programming language requirement. So we'll go to the Erlang site and grab the installer for that, get that installed, allowing us to move forward with Rabbitmq. Okay, so the Rabbitmq server is now installed, so we'll finish that. Okay, so as we come into our prerequisites now, you can see that we've got all of these items are ticked off, and the last item we have is the OPC core components. And we actually have the installer for that as part of the installation files that come with Ampla itself. So we'll run the OPC core components. Okay, so now we'll proceed with the Ampla install, and we can see here that now all the prerequisite applications are installed and available. Move forward, accept the license agreement. We'll select full installation here, and we'll leave it with a default instance, a SQL instance name. Normally what you would use here would be a domain account with a non-expiring password. This account here will allow the Ampla service to run, and if you have an expiring password, the service is likely not to restart if it's stopped. So a non-expiring password is essential here. And then we can move ahead with the installation. Okay, now that the installer is complete, we have a couple of options just before we close out here. We can view the Ampla release notes quite useful actually. So if you haven't used Ampla too much before, it'd be advisable to have a look at the release notes. And then importantly, we want to launch the Ampla Service Manager. So the Service Manager is the it allows us to create our first project. Okay, so now that Ampla is installed, the next thing you really want to look at is that when you create a project, it's going to be creating databases in SQL. So I've just got the SQL Server Manager open here. We'll just refresh that. You'll see at the moment there's no real databases created there because it's a clean install. However, after we create a project, so I'll select Create Project, and we'll call it New Ampla Project. We'll start that project. So as that project is created, it will be creating databases in SQL to host the config, the state of the project, and also the data store for that project, and we'll see that in a moment in SQL. Okay, so we can see that our new Ampla project has now started. Therefore, as we can see, the Stop Service button has become available. So if we now refresh the databases here in SQL, we'll see that it's created these three databases. So the new Ampla project database hosts the config. The new Ampla project data hosts any of the event records created by the project, and then the new Ampla project state database holds the state or the values, the time series values for all of the configuration items and variables inside of the project, and we can look at that in later videos. So that was a quick video just stepping through the installation of Ampla and the prerequisites and creating that first project and seeing the database creation. Thanks for watching.